Hi friends, and welcome to Creative Design Studio card number 4. Here we are going to complete this card two ways, one following the workshop instruction and one with embossing. For fun, I want to see how you are going to create the other two cards differently. How fun will that be? Share them in the comments below. We can't wait to see what you create. Let's start our prep work for card number 4. You see I have my Versamat underneath my all-purpose mat with the stamp cushion up, and I am stamping all the leaves, cleaning my stamp set with the stamp chamois, and prepping all of our pieces for 4 cards. So even though I only created it 2 ways for Creative Design Studio, because you're going to create the other 2 ways, I did stamp and prep all of the pieces here. Now remember I said in an earlier video about the Michael Jackson moonwalk. Now see, if I tugged this leaf, I might tear it, but see how I'm working my fingers as if I'm doing the Michael Jackson moonwalk to remove it from my black. Don't tear your stamp sets and do the Michael Jackson moonwalk. Now on to stamping the rest of the leaves here. I think that this card kit, I love all of the Close to My Heart card kits, right? But I think this one has been my absolute favorite one in a long time. I just love the colors. I love the layers. I love the rich look to it. And I'm just absolutely loving how these cards came out. I cannot wait to see how your cards come out. Please post them in the comments or post them in Val's Happy at Heart and Barbara's Color and Shape Facebook group. We love when our friends share Close to My Heart artwork in our groups. As I am editing this today, we are going on day 3 without power. I read this morning that they said that there were 5 tornadoes in Michigan, so I hope that everybody in our listening area has been safe from those storms. Now that we have all of our leaves prepped, we are going to start assembling our card, and I will let you know I've had a lot of trouble with my camera. I was running out of space. Oh my goodness. Every time it ran out of space, it shut down, and I didn't always know it because I'm sitting in the chair underneath the camera. So the first thing we're going to do on card number 4 per the workshop instruction is place this circle that came out of the center of one of the die cuts. If you did not save that circle, you can use any circle cut out and see how it's going to create a mask on our card there. So now we are just going to take some adhesive. If you have removable adhesive, that would be best. I just put a tiny little bit of my Tombow adhesive, and you're going to put these leaves down on your card as if you were random stamping them, right? But you're actually putting the leaves down, and we're going to remove them later. That's why doing just very little adhesive or removable adhesive is the best, right? So you don't want to use a liquid adhesive because then you would not get them back up, right? So I'm just placing them here as if I was random stamping. So when you random stamp, it's always best to place in triangles, right? To go slightly off your paper. And so you can see here, I'm creating that triangle effect, and I am just placing the leaves around the card. Now I may have gotten a little bit out of the camera view down here at the bottom, and I apologize for that. Like I said, I was having so much trouble with my camera. I was getting frustrated. It kept shutting off and I was running out of space. And so you'll see that here in a minute, but I'm just placing all of these leaves randomly on my card front with removable adhesive or light adhesive so that they can be removed. And it's going to be so neat when we color the background of this. We are going to not only color our leaves, right, which we're going to later use in this card, but we are also going to color the background of our card, and where these leaves are, it's going to be masked out, so there's not going to be no color there. So it's going to be super fun. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to see the final project. So I'm just balancing out, adding a few more, and this will complete this part of the card. Next, we're going to grab our inks, and I use the paprika and the honey butter colors, and I'm going to grab my sponge. Again, the blending brushes would work fabulous for this, and actually the blending brushes might be a little bit better. The kit said to use the sponges, and because I was using the sponges on the edge distressing and I already had them in all the colors, I did continue to use the sponges here. But again, you know, the blending brushes blend beautifully. So here I'm just applying the color, and I'm doing just like they did in the sample where I'm going every other color. So paprika, honey butter, all the way down the card. And you see I'm coloring the leaves at the same time, which we are going to use later, which are going to be so pretty. I love how that paprika really looks so rich on those leaves and those colors. And I'm not really worrying about how even it is or anything like that. I'm just applying a little bit of color to the background, and you'll see how beautiful this card is going to turn out. Remember, we've got that circle in the center, so we're masking out that whole circle as well, which is going to be where our sediment's going to go, right? So you're going to keep just applying the color down the card, and I did speed it up here a little bit so you didn't have to watch me do all of that. You know that you can pause and complete a step and then continue watching. So now I'm just taking some more color back in and blending it, and remove that circle in all of our leaves, and look at how fun of a pattern this created in the background. You know, you could take any cut image and make a mask, right? And have a fun background. How you could do hearts, you could do stars, you could do so many different fun things on any of your other cards. So here we have all of this done now, background done, and we're ready to put down our wreath piece. I don't know if that's really a wreath. I don't know what to call it, but that's what I'll call it, the wreath piece. I'm using my Rub and Remove eraser to remove any extra adhesive. We're going to stamp our sediment in the center. And then we are going to finish coloring in all these leaves. So if they were slightly off the card, they only colored in partially, right? So now I'm going back and I'm coloring them in a little bit more. Or if they were all one color, I'm just adding in a touch of the other color. Look at how pretty they are. I'm telling you guys, I love this kit so much. If you don't have this kit yet, you're going to want to grab it. Okay, so now I'm putting some 3D foam tape behind these leaves. Oh my goodness, I see I am off camera again. Okay, I did move it up a little. I'm so sorry that this is happening. Like I said, I had so much trouble with my camera, and every time I would get up and restart it, I didn't always get it in the right, I didn't always get it focused down in the right area on my tabletop. So I am so sorry, but I'm going to show you this here in just a minute. Yep, so you can see there. Look at how pretty that is. And then I'm going to take the white gel pen and just add a little detail. You know, you might not think that you really need this white gel pen added on here, but I'm telling you, it makes such a difference on those leaves. Just those little touches. And this card was so pretty. Now I'm going to finish the bottom up here, and I'm adding these pieces just the same way. So finally I realized I was out of camera, and I'm adding those bottom pieces just the same way per the workshop instruction. We're going to color these wood pieces with the paprika ink, and you notice I used my tip of my scissors as a little holder there, which worked really nice. And then I decided it was even better if I left them in the piece there and did them right on that full piece. Was a lot easier to manage. They weren't trying to run away from me. So there is another tip for you. And then these just get adhered down at the bottom. There's 2 of them for this card. Look at how pretty this is. Oh my goodness. Oh, I guess there's 2 up there too. So there's a total of 4 of them for this card. Look at how pretty this is. I just love it. Now for card number 4, the second way, again, we're going to put that mask down. Now I'm using my anti-static pouch to rub over the top of my card because I'm going to do some embossing. This one, rather than doing the masking of all the leaves, we're going to emboss them. And with the gold embossing powder. So I'm using the anti-static pouch so that the embossing powder doesn't have static and stick in areas that I don't want it to. Now I will tell you, I did this twice because it was actually a little bit difficult to do the random stamping of these leaves when you couldn't really see them, right? So you can't see it. I can slightly see it, but even for me, it was dark outside. I was having a really hard time seeing where I was putting them and making sure that I was doing it randomly without overlapping them. And you'll actually see that in one area, I did slightly overlap them, and it was just fine. You couldn't notice once I finished the card up. But so just be real careful when you're doing your random stamping with your Versamark. Also, make sure that you have a good Versamark pad because mine was starting to dry out. I had to get another one. So that was another reason why I did this the second time. And so I'm just random stamping this card to, you see, I keep picking it up to see if I can see where I've already stamped. Oh my goodness, it was so difficult. I tell you, my friends, I was having so many challenges. It was getting late. I was having lighting trouble. My camera was running out of space and it kept shutting off when I thought I was still recording. Oh my goodness, it was a hot mess. But I know that you also saw me do embossing tips in a previous video, so you are already a pro at embossing. I already had all my embossing powder in the tray here, and rather than dump it back in the jar and re-dump it out, I just grabbed a plastic spoon, and you can see I'm placing the embossing powder over my card using that spoon to pick up the embossing powder. Look at how pretty this is looking. Now I do see that I have some embossing powder in areas that I don't want it, so I'm going to go back in and remove that in a minute. Anything that you don't like about your embossing powder, you always want to remove before you heat it, because once you heat it, it's done. It's there. You are not removing it, right? So you can see down in the bottom there that I actually doubled up on that stamp set and didn't realize it. But that's where those pieces that we cut are going to go at the bottom, so nobody's even going to notice that. So next I'm going to tap off any of the excess embossing powder that I can get off, and I'm going to clean up my mess a little bit here. And now I'm bringing in that brush to remove any of the embossing powder that I don't want in there. Now you notice I dipped my brush onto my anti-static pouch. So there's like a cornstarchy material in there that takes static out. And by dipping my brush in there, I'm also removing any static that may be in my brush. And my camera shut off again because I ran out of space. So you got a little behind the scenes of my cat looking out the window and how my camera stand is set up while I was getting it reconnected. But here I am doing some heat embossing, and I removed the Versamat from underneath my all-purpose mat, and I am just heating this up here. Now remember some of the tips. You can heat from the back so that you don't burn your paper or yellow it, right? I know that I'm putting color over the top of this, so it's not going to matter, but that is a tip, to heat from the bottom. Also, the slower you heat, the better it is for not yellowing your paper. But at this point, I was kind of in a hurry to get this done because my camera kept shutting off, and every time it shut off, I had to go in and figure out what I could delete so that I could try to finish up this video. And it shut off so many times, my friends. So here I am holding it very close. I would not recommend holding it that close. And I'm holding it steady in one place at a time because I was trying to rush it through. You really want to keep your heat gun moving when you're heating something, right? Don't hold it just in one place. And here I'm showing you how you can heat from the back so you don't burn or yellow your paper. But look at how beautiful those gold embossed leaves look. They are so pretty. Are you loving this as much as I am? This gold embossing is so fun, and I have to be honest, I haven't embossed in a while before working on these cards, and I am having so much fun. Tell us in the comments, what is your favorite technique that you've learned so far today, and what you are most excited about? Tell us below. We want to hear. Once we finish heat embossing the front of our card, we're going to go ahead and bring in that circle, that center piece from that thin cut, and we are going to mask off the center here so that we can do our background coloring and have the white area still for our sediment. When I placed that circle, I wish that I would have placed it a little bit further down because I covered up a lot of the orange with where I had it placed, right? So I'm putting the paprika and the honey butter just like I did on card number 4 the first way, and with that circle so high up, I cut off a lot of that. You're gonna see my camera shuts off again, and I was not aware of it, but I completed this card just the same way as I completed card number 4 the first way, so the only difference in this card was the embossing. So I'm sorry that you missed the end of me completing it. I wasn't aware that the camera shut off, but you see, it is just exactly the same way. Now I'm going to be going like crazy through my phone to try to delete things so that I can solve this problem before I go on vacation in a couple of weeks. Definitely don't want to be running out of space on my camera while I need to take pictures for vacation. I need to scrapbook them, right? All right, my friends, have a great day.